Hey everybody, I'm going to give my thoughts on Hello Games' new stuff. So let's get started.
This negative energy just makes me stronger. We will not retreat. This band is unstoppable.
Man, that's a lot. Okay, so first of all, that was pretty impressive. Putting a montage of all the updates in quick succession like that, it shows just how much they've put into this game, into No Man's Sky. And I'm very impressed. It is a very impressive game. It's just it suffers from a similar thing that my big story that I'm writing suffers from, which is to say that it had a terrible start, and you go through and you rewrite and you improve and you change things, but fundamentally it's still tied to that original bad start. And it's really hard to get away from that, to break away from that without just saying screw it, abandon, redo, new vision, go for it. And that takes a lot of guts, and I didn't have the guts to do that. So I spent years and years and years and years forcing my story to be something great when it wasn't anything great at the beginning. Similarly, No Man's Sky, like you can still see the vestiges of the original content, the original structure of the game, even today. You know, it's still got a terrible story. It's still got a lot of grinding. It's still got, you know, a lot of sameness, especially in the creatures and you know the alien habitats. And I mean, although they've really improved it, granted, I will not deny they've really improved it. It doesn't. There's a few key things that I have issue with in No Man's Sky that I can tell that they want to fix it, but it's just not there. And one of them is that you can fly your ship to a brand new planet that no one in the world has ever been to before, and you can start recognizing things you've seen before, and you're like, why are those things here? It's the same giant worms, it's the same beetles, it's the same, you know, awkward looking quadrupeds that look just terrible, were from the original. And you think, and the other thing is that you can fly around the planet, and you can marvel at the amazing landscape and the procedural generation, and you know the structures that you're flying through and beyond and things like that. And within about 10 seconds or so, you've seen everything that planet has to offer. It doesn't take long. It really doesn't. You can fly and fly and fly, and it's the same exact thing throughout that planet. Now, you can then take off and go to a completely different planet, and you can see a lot of new things that you weren't on the previous planet. But some things are going to be kind of similar. And again, within about 10, maybe 15 seconds of flying, not walking, flying, you will have seen everything that planet has to offer. What the hell? You know, that's a problem. That's a problem when you want to make the game feel big and you want exploration to feel like exploration. And, you know, I've already illustrated some in my other video, there's some of the things I have issue with, you know, like the fact that exploration, you know, you're never far from home, which is a big problem. So other than that, it's really, really impressive. I really like the content that they have added, and there's a lot of stuff in No Man's Sky I still haven't seen yet. I recognize that. And I'm anxious to get away from the stomping grounds that I've been puttering around for the last 40 episodes because I wanted to do the story, not realizing that lots of the story really didn't matter and didn't make any sense and was very just cringy to go through. And also a lot of the mechanics that I thought were going to mean something in the game, like earning credits and building, and acquiring resources, mining and manufacturing, that I thought that meant something in the game. It doesn't. It really doesn't. Multiplayer, I tried it once with a friend of mine, and admittedly we had some lag, and it really didn't make the gaming, multiplayer gaming experience worth playing at all. It was really, really hard for us to even see each other. And this was only like a couple years ago. So, not a lot of good stuff, but the areas I haven't been in yet, I am looking forward to that exploration. So, I think Hello Games is onto something, but I think they should have abandoned their original vision and just went with something new. And maybe that's what this is. So let's keep watching. Okay, now that's new. See, hang on. Oh, yeah, now there you go. A new kind of space station. I really don't like the current space stations, the little diamonds that we see everywhere. I mean, there's quadrillions of these little same stations that are just nothing. And fight, two things which are important if you're gaming, by the way. Flight is terrible. Fighting is terrible. There's nothing to fight in this game. There's sentinels and on foot. It's just the sentinels, because let's face it, the creatures are not a challenge. If you get a hostile creature and it goes and it charges at you and goes bonk and does a little bit of damage, and then you can appease it with creature pellets or just kill it. You can kill it in just a half a second, and then the threat is over. And that's not a challenge. So there's the story makes you think that you're going to be getting a fight. Oh, you're going to break into this facility and it's going to be, it's going to be tense. And then you go in there and there's literally no one there. And in fact, it's safer when you go in than when you were outside, because there were sentinels on the outside. So there's no fighting in No Man's Sky. There's just no fighting, no combat, not really. And then flying is a joke as well, especially combat flying, which is against, say, the pirates or the sentinels. And they either completely wipe you out and overwhelm you, or they're super easy and you just wipe them out. Really, there's nothing where combat skills come into play. It's not a challenge. It's either you're just going to lose or it's just going to be easy. There's no challenge. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. So No Man's Sky to me now is just an exploration game, and I can deal with that. It's an exploration and stamp collecting. Thank you, by the way, for one of you who mentioned that it's like stamp collecting. And when I was a really little kid, I tried stamp collecting for a while, and I thought it was cool, but then I gave it up because it's a lot of work and the tangible benefits in the long run just aren't there. I'm not the kind of person that feels good about, that feels good in the long term about things I've collected. It doesn't motivate me to keep going. So I might not be able to, we'll see. I might enjoy it, getting living ships and all the S tier stuff and things like that. But No Man's Sky does seem to have flaws that make it just inherently temporary as a game of choice, at least for me, because I'm not by nature much of an explorer. I like trying exploring. I like that to be an aspect of a good game, but I don't really get into games just to explore. I played Minecraft for a long time, and for a little while there, I thought, this is great. You have such a large world that you can explore. And then again, same problem. After, a few minutes, well, in that case, maybe a few hours, you go in and you just realize that the landscape's all the same. It's all the same. So No Man's Sky big problems. I think that they're trying to fix it, though. We will see. All right, come on, Sean. Tell us what you got.
That right there was No Man's Sky, a game we announced 10 years ago with this guy right here, Sean Murray. Sean, looks like the content keeps rolling in 2024. But what does the next decade look like for Hello Games?
Well, to start with, next year is going to be a really big year for No Man's Sky. Like you said, I've been working on it for 10 years now, and I still really love it, still really enjoy it. But what people don't know is that for the last 5 years, we've been working on something new.
Another game.
Yeah, something very different, something maybe more ambitious. You know, for...
Here we go. Tell us a bit about it, Sean.
Well, for No Man's Sky, we generated a whole universe of kind of sparse, alien-looking planets.
They're sparse in content, but not sparse in life. Like you don't see too many really barren worlds in No Man's Sky. You go everywhere, and there's going to be creatures on almost every single world, which is weird, really. I mean, because that's not how that doesn't feel. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. For the explorer, the thrill is in discovering something rare. Life in No Man's Sky is not rare. It's not. Now, certain kinds of life probably are, and that's thrilling to discover. But the average thing that you encounter on the average planet is exotic looking, but very common, far too common, in my opinion, to feel like you're an explorer, finding new things, discovering new, unseen before things. And it's not, it doesn't count that it's the snout is a little longer and it has wings. It doesn't count as, ooh, new thing. That doesn't thrill. The thrilling thing is when it's radically new and different and, and rare. It has to be rare. That gives us an incentive to explore, right? So, but yeah, his comment about sparse, it's like, yeah, I think he's talking about just the fact that there's not a lot of variety on a planet. Maybe that's what he means.
And that wasn't easy, it was hard, but there is something that's much harder that we wanted to do. For our new game, we wanted to create an Earth, something
Earth.
As varied, a planet that is as varied as a universe, something bigger than Earth, something with, mountains, real mountains, not video game mountains, but mountains that are miles high, taller than Everest, that when you climb to the top of them and look out, you can see rivers and canyons and continents. You can see oceans.
So is this like an open world planet kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, the first real open world, right? Something without boundaries. And we're going to let everyone play in it together.
Okay, that statement, we're going to let everyone play in it together. Good luck with that, Sean. You also promised that with No Man's Sky. And how often do you run into other people in No Man's Sky? Like, you don't really. I mean, except for on the Anomaly, right? Where you run into maybe, 5 or 6 different people at the same time. And it's like, what he seems to be promising technologically would be very implausible. I don't think he'll be able to pull it off. I could be wrong, but I don't think he can do it. Why? Because this isn't EVE Online. You can't recreate what EVE Online has done in the No Man's Sky format. I mean, you can try, but I think you'd just crash it. Because if you've ever seen EVE Online, there's thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people in the same continuity, the same universe, that could interact with each other at the same time, but they're separated out into these different star systems that you can jump in and out of, which may again, it's possible. But what happens when, is you get these factions in EVE Online and you get factions of hundreds and hundreds of people, and they go to war with each other. And when they cluster together in a fight, a single fight of many starships, hundreds and hundreds of people, it chokes it. it chokes it hard, and it's, it becomes a slideshow. You know what I mean? And technologically, it's very difficult to pull off the MMO thing successfully. Now, I've played PlanetSide 2 and PlanetSide Original as well, and PlanetSide, in some sense, tries to pull that off. You have really big, expansive maps, and you have objectives, and you have you have choke points, and you're taking some territory in an objective in a building, and you have hundreds of people on foot with their weapons, and they're all in a big war, like a proper war. Not just a mini battle or a squad fight like Battlefield or something like that. You got a war going on, and you might be able to slip in without being noticed. You might not even get involved in the fight. You might get in there and you might get instantly killed, if you're on the front and stuff like that. And that's all brilliant. I love it. I just don't know if he can pull it off like he's thinking, because it sounds like he's trying to take No Man's Sky and put the entire experience onto a world instead of a universe, and also have everybody together in the same server, which I really doubt he can pull off. We'll see what he's talking about here.
It's, a place where people can live out their sort of adventures together.
Well, we can't wait to take a look at it. We have anything tonight or future? Or?
Yeah, so we have a trailer.
Oh.
And, it's quite a small team that's working on it. Yeah. There's about a dozen of
That's a dozen. There's a dozen people on this. That's a big red flag. There's no way a dozen people can pull off what he's promising. No way. Unless, 5 years is a long time. Yes, granted. And he's got a lot of money, from No Man's Sky sales to try. But a dozen people is really, really unlikely. I mean, CCP, when they made EVE Online, that has been evolving for the last 20 years or so, and I've been playing it for about that long. Well, on and off. I don't play it currently. I may never play it again, but I've played it on and off over the years. And CCP is an enormous company with enormous amounts of money because it's a subscription game, right? And I'm pretty sure this won't be a subscription game. So how is he going to fund the server maintenance and everything that goes along with this? He's promising things that he hasn't shown us that he can deliver. And he promised, and it feels like a repeat. It feels like a repeat of what he originally promised with No Man's Sky, where he promised the world. And it's like, well, eventually I'll get it figured out if you just wait. And we all did. And he did do it. He did it. And so maybe in another 10 years after this, after the launch, it'll be what he promised. Who knows?
None of us, actually, everyone's here. Everyone from the team is here. We're
very excited to share this. You and I have been talking about this one for years.
Yeah, we're super nervous, but really excited. If people like it, this is a game I would like to still be updating 10 years from now.
All right. So
what did I say? And you will be. Game
Awards 2033. We'll be back. But no, let's take a look. This is such an incredible project, and I'm honored that we get to show it off. Should we do it, Sean?
Yeah, let's do it.
Here we go.
And that's the end of this video, but I do have it here. It does look really fantastic. This looks beautiful. This looks beautiful. It looks amazing. It looks way better than No Man's Sky looks. I mean, look at. I remember one of my complaints about No Man's Sky grass was that it looked like shag carpet. It had all the grass was little fingers that waved around together, and because it couldn't respond to the wind properly, and it just looks fake as hell. This looks really good, and it's still cartoony enough where it can put those fantasy elements in without feeling awkward. Like, when you have fantasy and you have ultra realism together, it can look, it's the uncanny valley with reality. It doesn't look right. There's something wrong about it. Like, take anything any fantasy, you have to do a Lord of the Rings project, to pull that off. Well, but obviously he doesn't have Lord of the Rings style budget. But look at this thing. I mean, it's really, it's really hopeful. Now, the animal that this guy is riding, I mean, that doesn't look like ass like the animals of No Man's Sky, so that's a good start. The grass looks much better. It's thicker. You can tell that it looks like, proper fantasy grass or whatever. Let's see what we got. All right. All right. I hope the oceans are deep. Ooh, look at that big octopus thing in the back there. I didn't see that before. See those big creatures in the deep. I hope that he has stuff like Subnautica, because that'd be epic. That'd be epic. If he could go super deep, like in Subnautica. Subnautica is, I mean, it's 2 kilometers cubed, right? So you can go like 2 kilometers deep, and it's a labyrinthian hand painted map or a hand crafted map. It's not procedurally generated at all, like this is, obviously. So, but still, I mean, this looks promising. It does. There's schools of fish. There's life. Okay, hang on. This. What do we got here? We got birds, like regular small birds, but they're big enough to ride. And I'm thinking, okay, yeah, more power to you. You mean that looks cool. And Hello Games, No Man's Sky is fond of making things of all scales, even things that don't look like they should work in a large scale, and they are working anyways. It's very curious. Looks very nice. Now, you check out this building on the back here that's being constructed. That's a very interesting building technique. The fact that somebody's putting that together using a tool that can create, walls and chimneys and stuff like that out of stone, and it just goes up like that. And here's a guy carrying a log, and here's a guy chopping down a tree. And, it's not like super realistic to the Sons of the Forest level, but it doesn't have to be. It really doesn't have to be. Oh, that's a hummingbird. So that reminds me of, you ever see the movie Epic? Way back when. I saw the trailer, the teaser for the movie Epic long before the movie was out, and I was like, no way, that looks epic. It looks just amazing. And the movie's decent. It's fun. It has hummingbirds that the little tiny people ride, and it's cool. It's cool. It's a fun little movie. That just reminded me of that. Look at the size of that mountain. Get those jump cuts. That's Hello Games. So we have a dragon, and the dragon has wings that are too small for its, that dragon could never get off the ground with wings that size. But that's okay. It's fantasy. I mean, No Man's Sky is not known for realism in the slightest. When it comes to physics, it has fantasy elements, fantasy materials. No, it uses real life material names for its fantasy materials, which just throws me the hell off. And I'm sure this will do the same thing, and I can forgive it. I can forgive it because it's all about the story, right? And it has to have a good story. If it doesn't, I'm going to be disappointed.
Sleep my sleep, embracing you.
Now that climb was a little too easy. And this is again a No Man's Sky thing. Like, you can get in your ship and you can take off from the ground, point it up, and just boost to orbit. Literal space within the span of just a few seconds. That's not good, man. I don't like that. I don't like things when things are just too easy to get around. If it's too easy to get around, it's going to take away from the challenge of getting around, which should be a challenge in a game like this. You need to earn that kind of stuff. You need to earn something with the power to do what he's showing here. And maybe that's how they have it planned. Maybe not. I mean, I was very, shocked that No Man's Sky gives you a freaking starship in the first hour of the game that's capable of, traversing the solar system and jumping to, it's a bit too easy. And the teleporting, it's just too easy. You can get home in an instant. That's a big complaint of mine.
Realization grew on me as quickly as it takes your hand to warm the cold.
That's cool.
Side of the pillow.
No, and obviously the character models and graphics are really, really improved over No Man's Sky. This big thing in the background here, it's very large and, some kind of creature or monolithic entity of some kind that moves. That's impressive. I like the fact that they can mix big and small things together. That's really cool. I appreciate that. And it just looks nice. It gives the aesthetic is beautiful. I just love it. It could, but that will only count if the gameplay is challenging and gives you goals. It's got to do that. It's got to. Just giving people an open sandbox and saying, here's the world, just do what you want with it. We don't care. I'm not a big fan of that. Yeah, even these animals are borderline, but they're okay. Yeah, they work. They're okay. They're not too bad. This looks very No Man's Sky. Now this is cool. I like the bunny people. Apparently that's a race you can play, I guess. I hope it's not just as simple as that, but we see a lot of variety. We need to see a lot of variety in this kind of thing. This is well done. It might be a cinematic, or it might be the kind of thing you see in gameplay. They all, like, who are these? Are these NPCs on the sides here? And why are they showing reverence to whoever's in the middle? I don't know. Oh, what's that? Now, the clouds and the fog are so much more well done than No Man's Sky. Because the No Man's Sky clouds are crap. They really are crap. This looks really good, and we've never seen this kind of thing in No Man's Sky. So bravo for that. Is that kind of thing in the game? Because that's pretty epic. Probably not. But there you have it. It looks promising. It looks promising. I'll definitely be watching this. And, if I hear good things for at least a month or two after its release, I'll probably buy it. But like many of you asked me about Starfield. Hey man, are you getting Starfield? You're going to put Starfield on your channel? And I'm like, I'm doubtful. And I was proven right, wasn't I? Everybody's saying Starfield sucks. And it took him a while. I recognized it right away that there was problems, because everybody's like, well, it's Skyrim in space. It's Fallout in space. And I'm like, that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing at all. And now a lot more people are saying the same thing. And many of them are actually playing No Man's Sky now, which is cool. Even though No Man's Sky, again, it's all about whether you want story, because No Man's Sky doesn't give you story, whereas Starfield, I'm fairly certain, does give you at least that, even if the gameplay itself is crap, I don't know, the problematic, let's just say. And No Man's Sky does that better, but No Man's Sky doesn't give you story, and Starfield does. So they need to meet in the middle. And this needs to give you a story, it needs to give you goals, and it needs to give you challenges. Okay, it has to be difficult. And any mechanic that it gives you, like if you have the ability to get resources through any sort of automation at all, those resources should be essential to doing certain things in the game. In No Man's Sky, I have like 250,000 chromatic metal, and I can't do anything with it except sell it. What's the point? And it's easy to get. It's easy. That's my whole thing. In 5 minutes, I just dropped a what do you call it? A speed build of me making an outpost that mines, I think, indium. That's my indium mine, was it? I think it might have been my indium mine. And it's a speed build, so I sped it up like five times. And it's 5 minutes, so it took me about 25 minutes of real time. So in a half hour of real time, real work, I was able to put together a profitable, outpost in No Man's Sky that can build unlimited amounts, more resources than I can possibly use. And I don't like that in a game. There has to be balance. Has to be balance. It has to be challenging. You got to feel like, man, I worked for that victory, because that's where satisfaction comes from. You don't get the dopamine hit if you didn't work for it. If all you do is just, hey, look, it's everywhere. It's so easy now. No, that's no good. That's why a lot of us quit playing games once they become too easy. But no, this does look good. And I got friends who are very excited about it and want to play it together. And especially if they can nail the multiplayer. Oh boy. Yeah, man. That would be fun. But it's got to give you like things you can do as a team together, missions that you can go on, and you're up against something that you can't do by yourself and you need to bring your friends. And that's the only way you're going to do it. I would love that. I'd love to see that, man. I'd love to see it where maybe I go in, and I go to a certain location, and there's a creature there or something there, and I try my hand at defeating it or achieving victory in whatever I'm doing there, and I just get my ass kicked. So the only thing I can do now is to bring my friends and go back to the same place and try again, and we win barely. I mean, that's a very satisfying feeling. So that is my thoughts on Light No Fire. It's promising. I'm optimistic, cautiously optimistic, but this is Hello Games, and they do tend to overpromise and then just try to say, sorry, please forgive us over the next decade as we prove to you that we actually do mean to make the thing we originally promised. We could be looking at another situation like that. Although I will grant the fact that they've been working on this in secret for the last 5 years without any leaks. Are you kidding me? How did they manage that? How did they manage to not leak this for 5 years at all? There's no rumors or anything. Nothing I've heard. So they've already done more than I mean, but then again, I don't know how long they worked on No Man's Sky before that was announced. Because when they announced it, they had something to show, even though it was all fake. They did have something to show at least, and they had a vision. And here they are again. We might be in the same situation as we were back in 2016. So fingers crossed. Let's hope that they're doing it right, and let's hope that we have something to look forward to. That's it. All right. Well, that's it for now, and I'll see you back in the games.